Good morning, aviatics. Well, today we're doing one of those little jobs that you've got to do, or I seem to save up because I'm a little bit lazy. I'm not very good, as my wife tells me, about actually finishing jobs. So here we have the Mk1 Spitfire. We're going to do a cockpit tour of this at a later stage, not today. But today what we're going to do is we're going to put a few jobs that I've had waiting to go in this for a long time. So this Spitfire, we'll talk a bit more about it when we do the proper cockpit video. And we'll do a startup, which is the easiest way to show you all the controls, is to pretend we're actually starting it up. But we'll do that another day. So last night, or yesterday I should say, I got one of these lovely little plates from a good friend of mine who does these plates in sort of laser etched anodized aluminium. So that used to be painted on. And now we've got the proper plate fitted. The other thing we fitted as well yesterday was the little compass card. So what you would do is that you would this is your compass, so it's full of dust at the moment. So let's have a look at the compass. So I'm pointing something and you can't see it, but there's the compass. So what they do is they would put compass swing it. So they would have a compass rose marked on the ground. They'd swing the aircraft and they would read off where it was pointing on the compass. Don't worry for the cockpit tour of this that we do in another day. I'll actually clean and dust some of this, but it's got a little bit dusty over the years. And what they would do anyway is they would set up north, and basically every cardinal, so every 45 degrees, they would set it up on the compass rose and they would read off where it was. So here we've got, it's pointing north, which is 0 degrees, and you'd read the compass and then work out what the error was. If the error was very gross, what you would do is you would change what's called the compass bias block, which is this little unit on the bottom here, and you've got little they're not Allen keys, but they're sort of triangular little key, like a little clock key, and you would use that to move magnets around to try and get the bias down as low as possible. So this is 2. So when it was 45 degrees, it's reading 46. So it's overreading if you like, clockwise. So east 90 degrees, 93 degrees. So that's what that card is. So we fitted the holder for that original Spitfire holder, and that is actually an original card as well. So what we're doing now is we're going to be fitting a couple more plates. These will have to be riveted because they go on the outside skin. So they go on the inside skin and then it's riveted. So the early warning, say do not move the chassis lock lever, which is this lever here. Do not move it whilst the aircraft is on the ground, because if you did that, guess what? You would didn't have a sort of weight on wheels that you have on modern aircraft. It would basically raise the undercarriage. This plate is beautifully etched again. This was made by Duxford when they did their Mk1s, and I provided some bits and pieces to help them make their cockpits as realistic as possible. So that's the plate, and it's going to go on held by 4 rivets. When we get the rivet gun out, it's pneumatic. I don't use pop rivets unless they used pop rivets. And they only used pop rivets or blind rivets when they had issues getting to the other side to actually get a bucking bar on it and work the rivet, as it were, or to make it work. So we're going to fit that one as well. And what else are we doing? The other thing we're going to fit, which also has to be riveted in place, is this. So this is the forced flare. This is an original one, so you actually had 2 forced flare tubes, if you like, forward and aft, and this came from a crashed aircraft shot down in the Battle of Britain. You can see that I've had to repair it a lot, which is what I do. I'd rather use something that's like this than something real. Sorry, not real. So normally that would go about here on the cockpit, but as you can see we've got nothing there. So we're going to use a little bit of poetic license and basically just mount it with a few rivets there where it would go in reality. So that's going to be fitted as well. The other item we're going to fit today as well is this, which is another one of my friend's nice plates, replica plates, and he has a lot from crash sites, so he actually remakes these. So that will go there. So you can see the last display I did with this, we actually chickened out and fitted it with blue tack. What we're going to do now is we're going to fit it with proper rivets. So the next thing you'll see is when everything is ready to be riveted, because I'll use skin pins to hold it in place. The other thing we're going to also do is the Spitfire, early Spitfires, had not only the flap tap, but they also had a flap gauge on for each wing showing where the flaps were in relation. It's a nugatory item really, because it's a waste of weight, if you like. That is an original Spitfire screw, and you can tell them, you can always tell them, I find them in dumps every now and then, and you can tell the original Supermarine Spitfire ones because they have like a little ring on them. I'll show you one a bit closer, just for the purists, so you can see that I've got a couple of stainless steel fake ones fitted. So what I've got is I've got another 3 of these to actually use original stainless steel ones wherever I can. Okay, let's go and look at that screw. So here we have a box of bits and pieces from various dump sites. The early Spitfires had this, which is a really nice stainless steel undercarriage uplock. You see those on the side of undercarriage legs. The later ones had them made of just steel, so they crowed like crazy. And then you've got an over centering item. If you look up my Goodwood 2025 video, you'll see me pointing them out on that. So there's the original Supermarine number on there, Supermarine system made in Southampton, and the original Spitfire number on there as well, which is quite nice. Anyway, the thing we're looking for in here is these. These are those little screws I told you about. So you can see that there's a little concentric, so I've actually got 4 in here, so they're slotted, they're stainless steel, and you can see that they've got like a little concentric circle on there. So only a little point, but it's lovely when you can recycle and use a Spitfire bit that you find in a dump and actually use it on a project. Anyway, let's go and get on with the rest of it. Okay, so what we've done is I've got the skin pins holding the first of the 2 plates that I'm going to put on. These are the smaller rivets. So what we have here is these are the skin pins. So they're red ones. I've drilled and countersunk the holes for the next. And the really quick bit is actually the riveting, but you've got to really take care with it so you don't accidentally jump the rivet gun and then leave bullet holes everywhere. Well, not bullet holes, but dents, which is horrible. So I've put those 2 in. I've countersunk them ready to go. And then on this side, this is the other plate. Again, if we go outside, you'll find that I've got two holding it in place. And then what I use is I use a bucking bar, which will go on the inside, nice solid lump of steel, and then I use a rivet gun. Sometimes the rivet gun I use is actually a proper one. Sorry, they're all proper rivet guns, but they are I use ones that were used at Southampton. So these are the rivets we're going to use, little tiny counter-sunk aluminium rivets. So you can see I've got more in my, well, I've got a few in there with the different coloured skin pins. So when we actually get round to fitting the flare units, you'll see we use the yellow ones, which are 1/8 rivets. I forget what these are, probably half that. So yeah, who knows, 1/8, double it 16, so probably 3/16 I suppose inches. It's all imperial, because we try and use the original stuff wherever possible. This is the fun bit when we get to do the riveting, because it's quite a noisy as the compressor goes. I won't show you this, and to be honest there'll be lots of people saying, hey, you don't do it that way.
you do it this way, which I'm sure you do, but when you work out, I'm just a humble flight test engineer, self-taught on this rubbish. Well, it works for me. I do wear the appropriate PE. I'm actually quite deaf from all those hours in Chinooks, but hey ho, we'll have a go. So I'll turn it off now, but you'll just hear the noise from the rivet gun. So anyway, let's go for it.
Okay, so that's the small ones done. So I'm just going to take these off. Nice and flush, which is good. Which is exactly what we want. Just had a great big hailstorm here, which is nice. Weird weather we're getting over in the UK. So there you go. They're nice and flush. It's okay. There we go. Yeah, they look alright. And then look on the inside of here, the new chassis plate. That looks good too. Okay, now it's going to be the bigger rivets that we have to shoot on the dispenser, the flare dispenser. Not looking forward to that, because these are bigger rivets. They take a lot more reacting, and they can actually be quite painful. But anyway, so I don't think we're going to show you too much of that. And if it looks absolutely awful, definitely going to show you what it looks like after. Cheers. Wish us luck. Okay, right, well that's done, thank goodness. So yeah, oh good god, flare mount, yeah, wasn't as pleasant as I was hoping, but it's worked out all right. I think if we have a quick look around the other side, doesn't look too bad there. Yeah, so hopefully that's all done. So now we're looking towards the next jobs. So the next job basically will be this awful throttle unit. Got an original Mark 5, which is very similar, which I may actually, it's crash site, but I may actually try and take some of the bits off it and fit to this. I don't like doing that with some relics, but you know, this is a nice relic which I've used on it, which actually probably would have flown again, and that came from a Battle of Britain Spitfire, and that's stainless steel again. So it's a lot of the very early stuff on Spitfires was stainless steel, which is good. We've talked to, well, I don't know if I've talked about it, but this is the earliest surviving Spitfire control column, K9844, the gun button. Basically the whole of the column is from it, except for the tubes and this part of the grip. This is original, so that's her original safe fire button. You can see the red anodizer's worn off from where it's been used, and this is her original brake lever, and the brake lever catch is also from her. So as I said, the only thing that isn't from her is this basic magnesium casting. The other job that we're doing, which I'm really looking forward to doing, is the early Spitfire rudder pedals have Supermarine on them, and they then put a toe strap on, and we don't have the toe strap fitted, so I'd like to do that. So I'll just show you later two-tier one. This is a two-tier strap, two-tier pedal fitted to later Spitfires, so sort of Mark 5 onwards basically. What you did is you had this toe strap here, which was apparently made from old fireman hose. So what I've got is I've got some suitable material. It's not fire hose, because you can't guarantee it hasn't got asbestos in it, which is not good. But this came from a crash site Spitfire. So you can see it actually survived fairly well. It's a bit bent, but it's not too bad. So what I do is I use that to make sure I get it right, you know, down to the Simmons locking nuts, the little lugs there as well that hold it tight. So hopefully next time those straps will be fitted onto the Supermarine pedals. So the last thing I was going to show you was just a little bit of comparison with the pilot's notes. As I said before, we will do a proper walkthrough. This is actually a Spitfire 2 and 2A pilot's notes. So there are some differences to the very, very early Mark 1 Spitfire in here. But if we look towards the the actual pictures, you can see this is where humans really should have been made with 3 hands. So there, that is on the Mark II and 2A, they dispense with one of the forced flare, landing flare tubes, so you only had the single unit. So for instance, that also found its way onto the Mark V. So what I've done for the other Spitfire that we have is I've made up the bracket. So this is one of my special brackets made up. I've had that made up, the label, and also I cast one of the original ones from the one that's fitted now to Aurora Mark 1. I got one of these cast in Spitfire metal, so it's actually made from Spitfire metal, which is nice. So you can see that's ready to go on it, and then we've got that's the handle. So I made up a replica handle. And the other bit on it is this, which again came from a dump, and that's the original bit that goes on and holds the cable from being released. So nice item. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Rather than looking at my ugly mug, we'll just finish on looking at the Spitfire. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. We will get back onto the Hurricane fairly soon, because we have a little video hopefully to show some updates on that. But a lot of it is metal preparation and painting, so it's not as interesting really, but you know, I find it interesting obviously because it's a stepping stone to having a complete Hurricane, but it's not always of great interest to everybody. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, so all the best, fly high, fly safely, catch you later, aviatics, bye.